Welcome to the Loosening Captives channel, where we discuss everything having to do with deliverance and inner healing. Today's topic is how to get healing from the courts of healing. Now, many believers in the Lord Jesus Christ emphasize the importance of having faith in order to obtain healing. And the Bible does state that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, "Be thou removed," and it will be moved. However, it's disheartening to see how many people believe, stand on God's promises for healing, and are still sick. Now, many times there are legalities in the spirit realm that they need to deal with before they can obtain their healing. And this is what I'm going to be discussing in this video today. Now, such legalities may be such things as false verdicts, accusations from the enemy, covenants or oath, ownership claims, curses, generational iniquities, and captivity in places like the Satan's trophy case. Now, resolving these legalities through the appropriate court establishes the crucial groundwork so that you can progress to the other stage, which is to go to the courts of healing and go through the process there to get your healing. Now, the courtroom paradigm stands unequal in terms of getting quick answers and getting the backing of heaven and also angelic assistance throughout this process. Now, to refresh the content discussed in my other blogs about legal blockages, I will review these that I've mentioned in my other blogs briefly. If you're dealing with accusations, for example, the process is to, of course, consult the Holy Spirit to determine if you're dealing with accusations. And if you are, then write the accusations down and request access to Heaven's Court of Mercy. There you, according to Matthew 5:25, or is it 25:5? I can't recall now. You agree with the accuser regarding the accusation that yes, it is sin, confess it as sin, and ask for the cleansing power of the blood of Christ to wash them away. Now, if you're dealing with false verdicts or covenants and oaths, for false verdicts, of course, you have to request the Holy Spirit to identify what are the false verdicts, then request access to the Court of Appeals and ask for the overturning of any false verdicts and the issuance of righteous verdicts in the name of Jesus. If you're dealing with covenants, oaths, or curses, seek the guidance of the Holy Spirit to determine which type of covenant, oath, or curse you're dealing with. Then request access to Heaven's Court of Cancellation and ask for the cancellation of the curse, cleansing of generational iniquity, or the annulment of the covenant or oath. Then repent for the original sin that caused the generational iniquity, the covenant, or the curse, and then ask for the release of yourself and your family from its effects. If you're dealing with ownership claims, ask the Holy Spirit to identify the type of ownership claims, whether it's titles put on you, notes, lease, or liens. Request to access the court of titles and deeds. Forgive, bless, and release the person, entity, or the issue that allowed the false verdict to be created. Then repent for allowing its impact on you and your family. Then request the destruction of the false lien between blank and you, or request for the blood of Christ to satisfy a lien, if it's a lien, and then ask for Jehovah to become your owner, according to Psalm 24:1. Then request restitution. If you're dealing with captivity, such as in Satan's trophy case, ask the Holy Spirit to reveal if you have indeed become a trophy or if you're in captivity. Then inquire about the sin that caused the captivity, Repent for that sin and ask for the cleansing power of the blood of Christ to wash it away. Request access to Heaven's Court of Appeals. Request a writ of habeas corpus and receive the key to the trophy case or any other place of captivity. Ask for angelic assistance to open the case and bring you out. Request the angels to destroy the case and ask the angels to gather any part of you, like your DNA or soul parts or spirit parts, and heal it and establish you in heaven. Bring it back to you. Now, if you want more details regarding this entire process, what I just went through, and what we're going to discuss about the courts of healing, I recommend you get the book Engaging the Courts of Healing and the Healing Garden by Dr. Ron M. Horner, and you can get that at the shop section of looseningcaptivesblog.com. Now that you have gotten rid of all the stumbling blocks, all the hindrances to healing that we just went through, then you're ready to proceed with the healing process. First, you request access to the Court of Healing, then present a summary of your medical conditions to the judge. Provide evidence of your efforts to take care of your body, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Then the judge may offer recommendations to you for the care of your body. Submit your petition to the judge, and the judge may instruct you to obtain a new body part or direct you to the clinic. If you are directed to obtain a body part, proceed to acquire a requisition for that part, and then proceed to the repository of the body parts, and then to the clinic. If you're instructed to go straight to the clinic, then the Lord Jesus Christ will examine you, and he may admit you to the hospital for further care or for surgery. Upon being discharged from the hospital, you may be asked to spend time in the healing gardens. Now, as I mentioned before, this is just a brief summary. If you want more details, get the book, Engaging the Courts of Healing and the Healing Gardens. If you're watching this video but you are not saved, the Lord Jesus Christ is not your Lord and Savior, well, that is the very first step that you need. I recommend that you, if you would like to receive him, that you repeat this prayer after me out loud. Lord Jesus, I recognize that I am a sinner in need of a Savior. I ask for your forgiveness of my sins and cleansing of my transgressions through your precious blood, which you shed to pay the penalty for my sins. I believe that you are the Son of God and that you died and rose again on the third day. I invite you to come into my heart and my life as my Savior and Lord. With your guidance, I will live for you until the day you call me to heaven to be with you. Thank you, Lord. If you prayed this prayer in faith, then welcome to the family of God. I recommend you start reading your Bible every day and that you ask the Lord Jesus Christ for a good church where you can grow in the things of God. Now, thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and your comments and subscribing to my channel. And I will see you at our next video. Bye-bye.